Hey, there she is.
There she is. Awesome.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good.
You coming in?
Checking
You coming
everything.
in?
Make
Coming
sure
in good over there?
Yeah.
All right.
Everybody do the check.
Yeah. Test 1, 2. All right, we'll get we'll get started here in a second. Here, let me get going. All right. 3, 2, 1. All right. Hey, I want to welcome everybody to the, what is this, 11? I think this is 11. Number 11 of the Farmers Market Talks. We are here with the Chef Sarah's Family Recipes.
Family favorites.
See, Roy, man, you're giving me all the wrong information. Recipes. Favorites.
Favorites, man.
That's right.
Yeah.
Favorites. I got plenty of recipes.
Yeah.
It's backwards. Yeah.
There you go. Chef Sarah's Family favorites.
There you go.
So you're Sarah, you're new to the market, right? So you joined
this will be my 5th market at the East End.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're glad to have you aboard. Your stuff is it's pretty delicious. I know we've brought home some of those pickles and those pickled stuff. Man,
yep.
I'll tell you what, that is some good stuff there. So why don't you tell us a little bit how'd you get started? I mean, let's go to the beginning. Let's go to the back.
Like back to the beginning.
Back.
Yeah, back to Indiana.
When you were making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Come on.
So I'm originally from Indiana. Grew up there, and I did kind of the. People ask me, like, well, I mean, it's Midwest, why Texas, and I started out doing, 4-H at a young age. I had grandmothers that, they raised families. They made sure everything was running good. We always had food, and, had, grandparents had gardens. We had a little bit in our backyard too. And it was just something where, I was surrounded by the idea, farm to table it was a trend for some people, but it was a lifestyle, for many too. So, grew up, with that. And, I'm old enough to remember the days before the Food Network and,
That's for sure.
Celebrity chefs and things like that. So when you start getting into the idea of, well, what do I want to do for a living, or what do I want to do with my life as far as careers? I knew I wanted to do something with food, but wasn't sure exactly what that was. So I had vocational school available through high school. So, ventured into that and kind of got exposed to, what it was to work in a restaurant, to do catering, have businesses that were related to food. And, kind of got into that. The 4-H aspect kind of helps you develop those kind of planning skills. And, I don't know if you're familiar with, having to do projects and, research and all these kind of, time management kind of things. So that kind of went into it too. So I kind of looked around, and I'm trying to think, the celebrity chef at the time was Emerald, probably. It was the biggest one, I think.
Yeah,
and
I think
so really
Emerald.
There weren't that many.
Maybe Paul Perdome, something like that.
Yeah, Paul Perdome. Yeah, weren't that many women chefs. There's the Too Hot Tamales, the ladies, groups were public television.
Okay.
Kind of reached out. I met a few people through studies and things like that, and they was like, learn what you can. It is a learn by doing kind of trade.
100%.
And so I went to community college, did the basics, got scholarships, all that stuff. When I tell people I was like $6,000 got you an associate degree back in 97,
Oh, what?
It's like what?
No.
Yeah. So big fan of community college still. And
book's a book.
Yeah. And a lot of it's now you can find it online.
Yeah.
You can find pretty much, you can learn anything but got into that. Had a spirit kind of, if I want to learn something, do it, volunteer, get yourself in there. And I learned, very early on that, if you want to be taken seriously, you have to do the work. And you
Man.
may not be thanked at the time, but you have to, give yourself those experiences to kind of build you as a professional. And so I got to the point where I done competitions on my own and kind of feeling out what exactly it was I wanted to learn. And so I mentioned about, celebrity chefs. I didn't know too much about the celebrity chefs at the time, but I was a part of American Culinary Federation.
Nice.
And so at the time, national and, now international organization where you were put in touch with local chefs, international chefs. And so through that, I was able to get more exposure, but also this, as far as internet goes and being able to search for things, it was more, you had to do those face-to-face network kind of experiences. So went and did competitions in Indiana and wasn't doing too well because, if you don't have anybody to tell you what to do, you just kind of jump in and you're like, okay, I'm trying. And so eventually got in touch with a European chef that was kind of headhunting a little bit, helping chefs get those contacts. And so he's like, well, what is it that you want to do? And filled out, had me do a questionnaire. One of them was like, what kind of weather do you like? It was like, at that point, I think I'd had 20 plus years of really cold winters in Indiana. So I was like, warmer temperatures would be good. And so little did I know, but he was like, well, how do you, and also master chefs. Now, master chef at the time had a different meaning than what some people perceive now, as far as like, with the TV show, things
Cable
like that.
channel.
Master chef meant like that was the top of the top. You'd had experience and, you had to go through testing, CIA, Culinary Institute of America, they do the testing. And so it wasn't like just a title you could slap on the end of your name.
Yeah.
It meant that you had done that. And so for me, it was, I think PBS it was the first time that they'd ever shown the testing.
Oh.
And so, this is back when you record things on VHS.
What?
My grandmother.
You were able to record?
Right?
You have all
my
that.
grandmother knew that I was interested in cooking and possibly being a chef. And her experience was she had worked on an Air Force base, not in the military. She was a cafeteria cook.
Yeah.
Cafeteria lady.
Bulk
but they did everything
cooking
from scratch. And she's like, I think that you'd be interested in this. And so I watched that. And on there was a chef, Fritz Gitzner from Austria. And it just so happened that the chef that I was in contact doing the networking, he had mentioned his name. And so he's like, well, how about you coming down, checking it out, in Texas, and, see what you think. And, I was 24 at the time and, didn't have any connections or anything like that. It's like, well, if I don't like it, I can always come back.
Yeah.
And
yeah. Sorry for interrupting here, but
sure.
So what it boils down to is you've earned and worked your way for the right to call yourself a chef.
Yeah, and I eventually, worked my way into talking about certification.
Yeah.
I eventually, did start working with Fitz Kitchener, and he was at the Houston Country Club, and did that for 5 years, and then was involved with the ACF, and that was kind of another extension as far as like, I was talking about, going to college or experience. That was an opportunity for people that maybe didn't want to do the school route. You could do certification, and eventually, let's see, I've been in Texas 16 years. I think maybe less, about 10 years ago, they finally got the certification levels that were through the ACF recognized by the Department of Labor. so that helped us because used to, you say you're a chef and they can pay you whatever.
Yeah, sort of like pit master.
Yeah, all that work.
Nowadays everybody's a pit
Yeah, yeah.
master.
So,
Some people been
but
cooking.
yeah, my goal for myself that I had set was by 40 that I would be certified executive chef, and I did it. So
Nice, nice.
Awesome.
So
41 now.
before the market that you started doing your own little
Mhm.
pop-ups and stuff like that. So where were you?
So, like I said, I moved to Texas 2004,
Okay,
and so worked my way through various different experiences. Houston Country Club, Mark's American Cuisine when
nice.
that was still open, and then Rice University
Hey.
up until February. So nine
Mm,
and a half years at Rice University, learning how to work with students and mass production, but also they had the farmers market
yeah,
there. So I was involved with, the student organizations that were interested in that aspect. And so that kind of full circle was able to share my experience and knowledge for that. Also involved with Urban Chef, teaching cooking classes, and it's kind of funny how during the pandemic everybody was like, let's do Zoom classes or cooking classes and things like that. So
yeah.
those come around too, and so just different experiences through that. So yeah, up until so pandemic, unemployed.
Yeah,
What are you gonna do? And so
something.
eventually I got into, after 7 months unemployed, just had a what if night.
There you go.
Sat down and started writing a list, like, what if I did my own thing? And that's kind of
That's
how it got started.
yeah.
Was like, okay, I have a pretty big list here, so I think I I had things that I was interested in, and I thought other people would enjoy if I shared them. The succulent part kind of came about because you needed something to do during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And I grew up. My mom and my grandmothers, they grew the succulents for years, and so my mom had sent me some starts for them. And once you get them going, they multiply, and you can propagate them. And it was like you know,
So so not only can you cook, you got a green thumb as
yeah,
well.
got my nursery license and everything.
That's
It's
it. I'll grow it and then cook it.
That's
well,
right.
yeah. I mean, the idea of people talking about growing vegetables and fruits and things like that, but also the plants. Like, well, why plants? It's like, especially right now, it's like my thought was a lot of people were still at home, whether
Mm,
it's for school or for work, and you need a little green. You get tired of looking at your screen all day. You got a little plant over
yeah,
here, you know,
yeah.
to
See,
look at, and
um,
yeah.
I'm I'm uh, I'm known in the community as a green killer.
Oh
I
yeah.
can't grow for nothing. I can take a
I've
I
heard
can
that
take a
term a couple of times now when
I
people
could
are coming
Probably
I
by with
could
weeds
plants.
or
take it.
something like that.
Yes, I'm a plant murderer. I'll take a plant fully grown, thriving. I'll take it to my
Uh-huh.
garden, plant it, dead in 2 days.
Yeah, that's funny. People will come by to the booth and they'll look at the plants and they're like, "Oh, like I'm so scared. Like they look so nice. Like I don't want to do anything." And so I
Yeah,
was like, "Okay,
no. If you want to
tablespoon
live, stay
of
with Sarah.
water, just like once a week."
Yeah.
One of the things that we were doing before the pandemic, that I'm hoping once, it gets behind us, that we used to do a chef's corner.
Hmm.
And either Julian or I or a guest chef would come and cook from some of the things that are available at the market, and give out samples and give
Hmm.
people ideas of what they can do with some of the farmers market products and that sort of thing. So just listening to you about some of the things that you've done and all, I can hardly wait till we get this behind us, and
Yeah.
we can once again start doing prepared foods there, and once
Yeah.
again launch. Or we usually do it once, twice a month. Do a
Yeah.
chef's corner, and well,
And
that'd be something you would be great at, you know, and
well, and that's
yeah,
always exciting to see people like their amazement, like when you could just, and
yeah,
I've done that at the farmers market for different events too, where you
sure,
literally walk down the
Yep.
rows there and pick things up and like, okay,
let's make something.
I'll have lunch in 30 minutes or
That's
15,
right.
There you
whatever it
go.
is, you
Yeah,
know, and they're like, wait, what?
yeah, yeah.
You can do
You know
that.
what you find,
You can
and I'm
do
sure
that?
with your experience with the farmers markets there at Rice here on Wednesdays, um, you know, there's people that come out to the farmers market and sometimes they're hesitant to buy things because they don't know what to do with them, you
Yep.
know, and
Yeah,
they don't know exactly how to cook them,
yeah.
and then maybe eating them and say, man, those are delicious, but I don't know how to
Hmm.
cook it. So we have that opportunity when we do the chef's corner to do some of those things, you know, and show people what they can do with some of the products that are there and available, you know, at the farmers market.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've been working with the Central City Co-op
Oh,
too
nice.
Okay. Uh-huh.
recently, and that's kind of what I've been doing is
Uh-huh.
picking up a share once a
Uh-huh.
week and then just kind of breaking it down. Like, okay, here's a protein, or if you don't want to add the animal protein, you can do the plant-based protein, and then kind of organically a couple of nights a week, like, okay, this is dinner, step by step, these are the ingredients, this is what I'm doing. and
Yeah.
and it's funny because I had somebody else who was like, well, can you send me the recipes ahead of time? I said, you don't understand, like, this is a chef prepared, like, I'm making it up as I go.
That's
Yeah.
right.
you know
Chef
because
prepared
it may
sounds a
not.
whole lot better than as I'm making it up as I go.
Right.
Yeah. But I don't think people understand how olive oil, salt, and pepper, how
Hmm.
long that goes. That goes a
Oh
long
yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Um,
If a produce item is fresh, if it's seasonal,
yeah.
the height, the peak of its existence, I guess.
Yeah.
There's so much flavor in there,
Oh yeah.
and you don't realize, when they talk about local, 100 miles or so, the difference a couple of days makes,
Oh yeah.
as far as like when you
100%.
have produce on a truck that's being shipped from, driven thousands of miles, or the difference that an apple tastes, from one place to another,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they're like, I never knew, like,
Yeah.
they're like, oh, I don't like, I don't know what it was, somebody had talked about, like, I don't like apples, or I don't like carrots, and he's like, well, where have you had them? And I was like, oh, well, in here. And it's like, that's probably been sitting on the shelf or in storage
Yeah.
somewhere for a
All
couple of weeks.
soft.
Yeah.
Yeah. I took home the lonely turnip, but it
Oh yeah.
smelled so good. I peeled it, just threw it in the pan with a little olive oil, salt, and pepper, and that was
Hmm.
it. It was delicious. But people don't
Roasted
understand. They hear
vegetables,
turnips
yeah.
and they think, ooh, a turnip. Yeah, those things have a weird taste. Well, if
Well,
it's
and
a couple of weeks old, yeah,
it
it tastes
depends on how you
weird.
cook it too.
Yes.
I
Yes.
mean, I grew up. My dad, bless him, but he loved turnips, and he would get them once a year. And we were growing up in the Midwest. In the winter, you're not opening up the doors,
No.
so cooking turnips in your house. Woo. So boiled turnips were not my favorite, but
Yeah.
I learned how to roast them properly, like, there's a
Yes.
whole other flavor
It.
profile that
Yeah.
comes from that people don't realize, that they can be sweet, like they
Yep.
have the natural sugars in there, and that they can come out
And
and
that's
be
one of the
so.
things Roy and myself we tend to end up doing is educating a lot of people that come to the market because
Mhm,
they don't understand that you're right. A certain vegetable will have a couple of different flavor profiles, raw or roasted or
mhm.
sautéed,
Mm.
and their minds are blown. Fennel, wow,
Oh, one
what
of
do
my
I do with
favorites
this?
to, like, blow people's minds with. You're like,
Yeah, Roy
you
made this
use the
awesome.
tops as herbs. They're like, wait, is that dill? Like, no, no, no,
No,
that's the
No.
fennel fronds.
Fennel.
yes,
What? You can use that? You're supposed to throw that
Yes.
away.
yeah, throw it away. Oh my God. No, don't do that.
That's like the best part.
Yeah. Roy made this crazy, just simple fennel salad. It was
Yeah.
awesome, and the people at the table were just like, "What? I never had this before." And I said, "Look, we used to do this thing. because the fennel kind of grows real
Hmm.
like a big fan. And I
Right.
told him, I said, like, if you buy this fennel, I will give you the fennel dance. And I was all and flipping it around and stuff. And they're like, okay, give me one. Now show me how.
Yeah, you
Okay.
actually sold them too.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Once they realize, like you said, it's education on how to use the whole, as much as possible, the whole plant.
yeah,
Carrots, the smaller carrots, telling people that you don't necessarily have to peel them. Like, wait, what? Oh, that's so dirty. I was like, you clean them,
yeah,
and
Yeah,
there's a lot
yeah.
of extra vitamins and nutrients in there, the tops of them. You can
yeah.
make pesto with the tops of the carrots and
Man, we need to move you back over there to the produce section and really get down on it.
consulting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
You're eating
Help
that wrong.
educate these people.
Yeah.
Help
All
educate
right.
these
So
people.
let's fast forward a little bit.
Sure.
Now you're in the markets.
Hmm.
So what do you got on your table?
So I said, literally right now, I have on my table.
No, not on your table.
I have.
Table at the market.
So I am focusing on
Oh,
popcorn.
that's that one.
Oh, nice. Yeah, there you go. Uh-huh.
I have so the popcorn.
Yep.
I had kind of a mission where I wanted to have non-genetically modified popcorn,
Okay.
and if possible, supporting a farm directly as far as like purchasing it. In Texas, there's not really popcorn farms. They are within that kind of local range, and so I was familiar with a couple of farms in Indiana that especially during the pandemic, I was like, I want to support the local, the farmers. So I sourced the popcorn from Indiana, and then started doing. I had a list of flavors that I'm kind of rotating through. Um, the honey caramel
Hmm.
is kind of a standard now. Using the local honey. Got it into the preserved items. I knew I wanted to do pickles, but I didn't want to be stuck with just the cucumbers. I
Yeah.
wanted to be able to use the seasonal ingredients as they kind of came along. So I make sure I even when you look on the label, it says seasonal vegetables.
Yeah.
It may have some cucumbers, it may not have very many,
No,
just
those
as
carrots
they're
were.
available, but it to show that pickles aren't necessarily just cucumbers. And then recently, um, so my grandfather on my dad's side, he had more of a German background, and he liked making sauerkraut.
Ooh.
Nice.
Much to my grandmother's dismay, on the back porch, having all the crocks, out there. And so, I wasn't going to do the fermented, but I wanted to kind of pay a homage to, that a little bit. But also, since I've been in Texas, I've learned more about like the spicy pickled,
Yeah.
cabbage you'll have with a lot of uh, South American cuisine and Mexico. Those little touches of flavor, little zest in there that same thing with sauerkraut. You add a little extra pops. So I recently, certainly it's backwards, but it's a mix of the two. I've got the celery seed in there for the German, and I've got the
Nice.
Mexican oregano in there for the
Nice.
and the arbol chili in there for
Oh,
Well,
nice. Yeah.
for the little kick in there. So
that's what I noticed about your stuff. So I had the cucumber with the pickles and
mhm,
not the pickles, the carrot mix and everything.
mhm. Yeah,
And
did you get the jalapeno ones
no,
or
I got the garlic.
the garlic ones?
The
Yeah.
garlic, delicious. And and what I noticed is that it's super. For one, it's super flavorful, and two, it didn't just taste like vinegar.
Yeah.
A lot of these pickling things that people they want to try their hand in pickling and stuff, and they think, oh well, let me just go get the big old thing of vinegar, white vinegar, and pickling spices from the grocery store, and then you're like,
Not my favorite.
um, um, okay, but no, your stuff was very, very, very flavorful. It didn't. It had just the, I mean, almost no taste of vinegar, and it was super, super, super good.
And there's definitely vinegar in there, but wanting
Exactly,
to make
but
sure that the like the lemon garlic dill one, that there's
oh,
fresh
the
dill in
dill.
there. There's
Oh,
a
I
garlic
love it.
cloves. There's making
We've
sure that
had one. We've had one
ingredients
vendor.
taste like ingredients.
Yeah, we've had one vendor, and Roy knows. We know her, Joseph. So all our vendors, we either know their name or we call them the pickle guy or the carrot guy, and he did pickled dill pickled chips, and
Mhm.
he put a bunch of dill in it, and it just tasted like a dill pickle. I mean, like it
Mhm.
was very, very tasteful, not vinegary with a little bit of dill. It was
Mhm.
dill. It was so good. And that reminds me, it reminded me of him when I tried your stuff, because this was like super, super good.
Mhm.
I think, so in the market, what's your experience? Are people kind of, are they buying from you? Or are they still trying to figure out
Ask
what it
questions,
is?
that sort of thing.
Yeah, a mix.
Okay.
When I start out, I'm a new face, and
Yeah.
and I totally expect that. And uh, I have, like I said, three different kind of components to
Mm-hmm.
mine. I've got the popcorn, I've got the pickled items, preserved items. I started doing the cranberry sauce for the holidays, and then I have the plants too. So it's kind of interesting to see what exactly it is that draws their attention. Because some of them, they're like, "Wait, what?" And
I can get a
so
plant too.
so some of them are, it's the pickles, that they want something, and I explain, I'm supporting the local farmers. Gunderman Farms is
Yep.
one of the produce vendors that the co-op uses. So I was like, and I had one week where they actually gave me some of the vegetables. So
Nice.
the next week I was like, that's where they came from.
Awesome.
And so with those, they're like, well, what kind of flavor are they? And this is the time where giving samples out is kind of tricky.
Yeah.
So I mean, you have to kind of go on faith a little bit on it, and so like, well, I'll buy one.
Yeah.
We'll see. And then I've got some. They're like, well, we finished them in 3 days.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
we're back
Yeah.
for more.
I didn't get 3 days. I got a day.
Or they're like,
Ate that
oh, we
whole
have a new
thing.
flavor.
Yeah.
I
I think Roy, if there's always solutions to sampling. I think if you put them in the little 1 ounce, 2 ounce things with a little lid, I think you can hand
mhm,
those out to kind of.
Yeah, there's a way where you can kind of do it right now, and some of the vendors are trying it. It's working pretty well with them,
mhm,
because that's a little 1 ounce or 2 ounce
yeah,
container, depends, with a little top, and
yeah,
you can hand that out,
yeah.
and they're
But
on their own to eat
yeah,
it.
once they, I get them on the first one, they're like, okay, okay.
There you
They're
go.
Yeah,
like,
they'll
I'll
come
come back
back.
for more. And then also I'm promoting that, for a couple of reasons. If they bring back the empty jar, I said
Ooh,
I'll give
Oh,
you a
that's
dollar
great.
off the next
awesome.
purchase. Two parts: one, to help promote recycling, but also two, it's hard to find jars right now.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
So and then it's funny because I'm a real big fan of talking about like the pickles, the juice. I said there's a lot of good benefits to that. Some people,
Very much so.
athletes, use it for to prevent cramping, but also you can reuse it. Make your own pickles.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
cut up a cucumber, put some other stuff in there. I even like putting it in some steamed rice. Replace some of the
Oh,
water in
yes.
there, get a little zest into it.
Mhm.
So some of the customers are like, "Well, I kept the jar. Is that okay? Because I wanted to use it for." Yeah, sure.
You're like,
You're using it.
no,
Fine.
bring it back. We
But
had a kombucha guy that he did that. He
mhm,
offered bring your jar back and you'll get
yeah.
like a discount for filling it back up again, or just bring it back if you didn't want it anymore. But
Well, and I said, you
so he
don't
had
have
a
to buy pickles again. You can buy, some other product, whatever. I don't, I'm not picky about
you're gonna
it.
hunt them down and where's my jar?
Nah.
That's
I
awesome.
guess, yeah, one of the most important things that you've been talking about is the freshness of the product.
Mhm.
And that's what sets, chefs like you apart when you do things like that, having to do with pickled items and all. It should be about the produce. It should be
Mhm.
about the vegetable that is that is pickled, and not about the pickling agent that's in
Mhm.
there.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of what you do, is that the vegetable that is in there, or vegetables, they're the stars, and you still have
Yeah.
those
And
flavors, unique flavors.
usually the way I usually do my production week is Wednesday I pick up. I was talking about getting the share from the co-op, but I also get my produce. I order, at the beginning of the week. So Wednesdays and Thursdays are my production days. So usually what's happening is the produce is being picked maybe Monday, and then it gets delivered to the co-op Tuesday, Wednesday, and then I'm producing it, preserving it Wednesday, Thursday. So within a few days of it being harvest, it's being,
It's in
it's
on your table.
in the jar.
In the jar on your table.
Right.
So,
And then, they ask how long it can last. And it's funny because I was like, the whole idea of canning is to preserve it.
yeah.
It's like, well, is it like a week or something? It's like, no, I mean, typically after a year, the nutritional value starts to go down a little bit, but you can still keep it. But
just tell them when the apocalypse happens, you'll have some pickles. How about that? You can take that with you.
Right.
Yeah, 100%. So what's next on the horizons? Or do you want to continue to do popcorn and the pickling, or do you have some other ideas in mind?
Well, right now, it's a good kind of vehicle for me to kind of reach out to other opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of interesting how it's kind of gone with the popcorn. It's a sealed product. I use a sealed bag on it. And right now, that's actually very important to a lot of people for different businesses or vending opportunities. And so I've had a couple of different businesses reach out to me as far as like providing my products,
Oh, okay.
Being able to, supply food in, different event, spaces, but, like talking about with samples, have it in a sealed, packaging. The pickling, I'm working with the co-op, I have that available through them too. And I have applesauce. It's funny, like the applesauce kind of like was kind of a simple thing, but there's moms that are like, wait, no sugar added or natural, or
I can give that to my kid. What?
Yeah. Adults too. I had some last week that came back. I was like, can I have some more of those the applesauce?
Nice.
I think we talked about applesauce before and about apples. I think you had mentioned you'd found some apples up in the Dallas area.
Yeah, the co-op has sourced through a farm that's north of Dallas, and these are sweeter varieties. They've got so far I've gotten I think Gala, Honey Crisp, and one other. But if you get more in the Midwest and your East Coast, you're going to find more like the tart varieties, but these are more sweet. So they lend themselves very naturally towards the applesauce type of preparation.
Yeah.
And then I also include them in the cranberry apple relish that I made.
Yes.
So I put less sugar. The cranberry relish, it does have sugar in it, but because the apples are sweet, then I don't have to put as much sugar in it. So
here's an apple tip for you. A Texas apple tip.
Uh-huh.
So if ever you're out in the far West Texas area, around Marfa and around Alpine, which is far West Texas out toward Big Bend, there is a lot of apple production up in the mountains of West Texas in Alpine and
because you need that cooler temperature.
It's drier, cooler, higher altitudes. And I remember going through there, I guess during apple season, if you will, during the fall, whatever, before. And along the roadside there in Alpine, you'd have different farmers out there on the side of the road with a little farm stand with all sorts of apples and all from the orchards there up in the mountains. And they were amazing. They were amazing.
But yeah, I was actually, because I grew up where there were apple orchards in Indiana, and the apple festivals, all this,
Wow.
and Texas has their watermelon festivals, and things like
Exactly.
strawberries,
apples.
The apples, big kettles of apple butter being made.
Wow.
When I found out through the co-op that they were able to source those, I was like, I get them like multiple cases at a time.
There you
There
go.
you go.
And they
That's
keep
awesome.
that, apples are definitely one of those fruits that if you keep them in a cool, dry place, that,
They'll stay for a while.
yeah, a good
Yeah,
month or so.
They'll hang
yeah,
around.
Yeah.
that's right.
So, Chef Sarah, tell us once again, where can we find your stuff?
So I am, at Easton Farmers Market on Sundays, and then I also have some items available through the Central City Co-op. If you go online, they have some of them listed on there that you can order for direct pickup, or if you're doing a share, you can add that onto your share. You can go into the store itself, storefront, and then oh, um,
Where?
with the products that I have on the back, there's always an email
Oh,
listed
beautiful.
on there. So if they want to, contact me through that, I have some business cards now that I have available at my booth.
With the stickers?
So getting into the holidays, gift ideas. I'm going to be
Yeah.
rolling out some packaging deals as far as people have been asking me about shipping because they can't, maybe they aren't going to visit family
Yeah.
this year, just with the restrictions and things like that. So they're like, can I ship some popcorn, or can I, do some pickles, or if they want to box something up as a gift, popcorn is, it seems simple, but it's
Oh
a
no, it's
nice.
awesome. Yeah.
You always see the tins of it. They've been sitting in the warehouses for who knows how long around the
Right.
holidays. But I do weekly production of it, so it's nice and fresh.
All
So.
right. So we're getting.
Coming into the holiday, and particularly with
Mhm.
Thanksgiving and into the Christmas
Mhm.
holidays and all, think about doing a little gift basket or
Mhm.
box. And all you just get you a nice little box, a little basket, and put your products in there, and
Yeah.
put a little nice paper behind it and all. And people
Yeah,
love that.
that's
That
the
they get a
idea.
gift basket, and then you can upsell it. You can
Mhm.
upsell it because
Yeah,
you have
that's the
several different
idea.
products. And yeah,
Starting next week.
excellent.
This is what is it? Well, last Sunday was the first Sunday of November, so this is
Correct.
the second technically. But yeah, we're getting in, towards Thanksgiving and then holidays. So as far as the succulents, you're gonna start seeing. It seems kind of early, but I mean, it's holiday season. You're gonna start seeing a couple, little holiday pieces showing up.
Excellent.
So you can
Nice.
pick and choose your own combinations, for a package deal. So yeah.
Very
Beautiful.
good. Very good.
So for everybody out there listening, if you want to come and see Chef Sarah, you can come down to the East End Farmers Market every Sunday, 10 to 2.
Mhm.
And she's on the right side, kind of
I'm
in the
right across from
middle,
Nymphes.
right across from Nymphes there. We're getting towards the end of the line here, Chef, and I want to thank you for coming on with us. It was a pleasure talking to you. It's even a more pleasure to have you as part of the East End Farmers Market family.
Absolutely.
And for everybody out there, we will see you when we see you. Bye.
Later.